Well, conservatives are now claiming roughly 80,000 U.S. farmers are the latest victims of out-of-control agencies in Washington, D.C. after the EPA releases their personal information, home addresses, names, the whole bit, to what critics are calling radical environmental groups who don't like what a lot of these farmers are doing. Now they're saying this may actually pose a potential biosecurity threat. Michelle Malkin is next to explain why the agency did it and what it's doing to fix it. Wait until you hear about the fix. Plus, well, we are now hearing from a group of U.S. senators challenging the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, on its recent leak of personal information on some 80,000 farmers, American farmers. The EPA saying it, quote, accidentally released the personal information of those tens of thousands of small family farmers and ranchers to left-wing environmental groups, including names, phone numbers, and addresses. 24 senators have now sent a letter to the EPA demanding answers about how this could have happened and wanting to know more about their supposed fix. And wait until you hear what that is. Michelle Malkin is a syndicated columnist and a Fox News contributor. Michelle, so we learned about this leak in April where these left-wing environmental groups wanted the information and the EPA said, here, sure, here you go. Everything you needed to know about 80,000 American farmers. In response to which the farmers said, what? You're giving my home address because my farm happens to be where I live, my phone number, my information to these in some cases, far-left groups. And now the senators are saying, hey, folks, you may have created and I want to get the terms right, a biosecurity or food supply safety issue by compromising their privacy in this way.
Yeah, that's right. Oopsie. How do these things just keep happening? You know, the scandal never stops when the fish rots from the top. And credit to FoxNews.com, which broke this story in April and which has led to this letter. I should note, of course, that it is a bipartisan group of 24 senators who are now putting pressure on the agency to explain itself. And this is on top of a number of scandals within just the EPA itself that raise really chilling questions about their lack of any kind of care and duty when it comes to protecting the privacy of American citizens. And in this case, as you said, it's 80,000 livestock providers, family ranchers. And, you know, whatever fishing expedition these left-wing groups were on, and we're talking about the most radical green groups that have a decades-long history of targeting their opponents, whether it's free market environmentalists or these ranchers who are trying to make a living in America, there was something very smelly going on here. And I greatly question the idea that it was simply an oopsie mistake that they're now trying to cover up.
I mean, think about it. This is if the IRS scandal involved, then the IRS suddenly disclosed the home addresses and phone numbers and email addresses of all the conservatives and conservative-leaning groups that were applying. It would be, you know, it makes you a target. They're disclosing it to people who have an objection to what you're doing and what you stand for, and it could lead to harassment. And so now, after the complaints, the EPA said, oh, as you say, whoops, let's fix it. We're going to fix it. And Michelle, the fix in part is, well, we've asked the groups to return the documents to us. We asked them if they'll send it back, please.
Yeah, excuse me, could you please give me that valuable information back? As if they could just wipe it from their memory banks as well as hand over a piece of paper?
Right, trust us.
It's beyond scandalous. Now we're just getting into like emetic-inducing behavior by these government agencies. The Pew Charitable Trust apparently has given back the info, but we don't know about Earth Justice or the Natural Resources Defense Council. And we do have to put this in some historical perspective, because remember that under the Clinton administration, Carol Browner, who under the Obama administration was the former Green Czar, had actually handed over all sorts of information and cooperated illegally illegally on lobbying campaigns with many of these same kinds of eco groups to target Republicans or free market environmentalists who are working on all sorts of regulatory reform. Now fast forward to the Obama administration, where, as you say, Megyn, we're not just talking about the privacy concerns here, we are talking about a biosecurity hazard. And it's not right-wing groups who have pointed this out, it was the Department of Homeland Security itself who said so.
Right, and as you say, this bipartisan group of senators is raising it in their letter. And I love this part of the story. So then they asked for people to send it back, and in some cases they did get it back, and then they resent it out with the information redacted. Oh, except for Montana and Nebraska, who wound up mistakenly resending a second time the personal information of the farmers. I mean, the problem is, Michelle, this same government wants us to trust us. They want us to trust us that, you know, they're going to do things right.
Yeah, well, it's another piece of the distrust crap mountain. I cannot, every single day, you know, I have my refrain, culture of corruption every day, a new eruption. And this, as I said, is just one of the problems that EPA is having, because, of course, you've got the email scandal with them, as well as the warehouse problem. Yeah,
Michelle literally wrote the book. She literally wrote the book,
That's right.
Culture of Corruption. Thank you, Michelle.
You bet.
Coming